Thank you for coming on the red carpet, Maxwell.
Thank you for having me, Ryochi. I
You're very
appreciate it.
what got you started into this fun but crazy entertainment? Because I say crazy because a lot of people don't realize the effort and the time, and because it's not easy and easy and peasy, I'm going to say, because a lot of people think I'm going to get in and I'm just going to win a big huge reward and bam. So let's hear your story.
I think that's what I certainly thought when I came in. I think everybody does think that to some extent, and you kind of have to in order to pursue this dream or pursue this craft or pursue this business. You have to believe that you have a purpose in it. Otherwise, there's too much adversity in the business itself to stick with it without a very rooted purpose. I believe that. I think there's always outliers, beyond that. But I think generally that plays a major factor in
Hmm.
one's longevity in this industry. But to answer your question, I got into the industry, the craft, the art, whatever you want to call it. I got into it very early on. My mother was big into pushing me and my two older sisters and I to do all sorts of activities that were outside of what we may want to do or even think about. My sisters both loved musical theater, and I grew up watching Disney films and the all of the originals, Cinderella and Princess, Swan Princess, and the Buzz Lightyear animated movie, the cartoon, all this stuff like played an early factor on me. Films, I think, helped shape my reality at a very early age,
Hmm.
and uh, I was doing theater and musical theater. I remember I was a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz at I don't even know, a few years old. And I was doing theater my whole youth, and then I was a child actor. I became a child actor at about 9 years old, I want to say, in 2007.
Hmm.
And that was the first time in my life that I ever felt uh, genuinely in the right place, like that I was doing something that I was kind of put here to do.
Hmm.
I I was a bit of a troublemaker as a kid, for better or for worse. Not like anything serious, but if there was no good reason for a rule, I always wanted to push back against it.
Hmm.
And I was always making jokes in class to make class more entertaining or tell stories at the dinner table when we're supposed to be quiet or whatever it is. And in the film industry as a child, that's where all of my, absurdity as a kid was accepted. It was completely embraced. They said this kid's got charisma. They didn't say this causing us problems. So it was a very different reaction that I got from adults. I got respect from adults at a very young age for being myself, and so
Hmm.
I very much felt in the right place early on doing that. And then after a variety of commercials and QVC work and things of that sort, I phased out of the child acting age group and started to phase into that teenage group. I got braces. I was awkward, and the commercials, the auditions, I would say I stopped understanding why I was doing them. I didn't have a grounded purpose.
Hmm.
I was doing it because I was thrown into it and I had some success in it. And I felt that connection to it, but I didn't have a clear understanding of why I would stick with it or why it was something that I needed to give my full attention to. My grades were suffering because I was giving it my attention. And there's plenty of auditions, as I'm sure you know, that you don't get.
Right.
And,
100%.
yeah, almost 100%. Not to make a joke, but you know what I mean? I'd say out of 100 auditions, a good actor is lucky to book a
Hmm.
few. And we set a very high expectation for ourselves and maybe an idea for others that you're supposed to be booking, every other audition. It's not true. If you do, you're very lucky. You're very skilled. You have a light shining around you, and God bless you. Uh, that's not always the case for everyone. I
Right.
think for a lot of people, the case is you do a lot of auditions,
Hmm.
and something comes around where you were exactly what they saw, or you
Hmm.
were exactly what they weren't expecting, and it happens. And that might give you a little motivation for a few months, maybe even a few years if you're lucky. But you have to have that grounded purpose, or that's not that those little wins, even those big wins, aren't going to create a longevity in it. So I stepped away from it when I was about 15, 14,
Hmm.
and really got interested in the military, joined JROTC, joined the U.S. Army Cadet Corps, and then eventually fell in love with pro wrestling, which took me by surprise. And I veered off into professional wrestling at the age of 15 and started training and doing that at the age of 15. And that carried me all the way into my college years,
Hmm.
where I rediscovered acting and filmmaking in my degrees and realized that what I loved about professional wrestling was what I loved about acting, or directing, which was storytelling, uh, inspiring people, feeling inspired myself by stories, by characters
Hmm.
that I resonated with, and being able to connect with people that I'm different from through a shared experience.
Right.
That was always magical for me. So I said, oh, I can do this thing. I don't have to risk my life every night, like in professional wrestling. I believe professional wrestlers do risk their life every time they go out there, and kudos to them. They do it all for the fans, and they do it for the love of the
So
craft,
true.
the love of the game.
Because they love what they're doing.
Absolutely.
As you know,
Absolutely. And you have to risk your life for something, right?
right. And I totally
So,
agree with you. Pardon me, but because storytelling is absolute true. We as entertainment industry, we tell people stories, and that's that's what we love what we're doing. So I
I
just
mean, that goes back way further than our industry, doesn't it? That goes
yes,
back, that goes
100%.
back to writings on the cave walls,
Yes.
It does. Those were stories that
And
were
I'm not trying to
told.
laugh about it, but it's the truth.
Yes, absolutely. It's essential to our humanity
Hmm.
is storytelling. Whether it's educating the youth of the dangers of the things in the forest and what they are, or it's teaching us ways to navigate our very intricate and complicated modern society that we're in now,
Very
and the
true.
emotions of that.
Yeah.
We have replaced so many physical dangers with psychological dangers,
Hmm.
especially in uh, the United States and in other heavily modernized countries. We are constantly, as humans, looking for the things to be afraid of, and most of the time, when we're caught up in some sort of routine life, things that we're afraid of are our emotions and
Hmm.
our interrelations and those types of things. So films can do the same thing they did on those cave walls by having a rom-com that helps us understand our feeling.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
yeah.
Um, I want to dig into this is what is the best advice you ever heard or received?
The best advice I ever heard. That's a major question. Best advice I ever heard or received. You'll have to forgive me for the pause. You might have to cut the pause out here
No,
for
it's
me to
okay.
really think about that. The best advice I ever heard or received.
Or ever heard. Because
You know what? Uh, this is, I don't know about the best advice I've ever heard or received, but I'll tell you a quote that is from a film
Okay.
that I think about constantly and that has fueled me throughout years and years of this craft, and in a way has given me advice or insight. And we'll see if you can guess the movie first. I'll give the quote. The quote is, a lot of people think uh, geology is the study of rocks,
Hmm.
but really, geology is the study of time and pressure. That's all you really need, time and pressure.
Yes, I've heard that. Um, and I was thinking while you're saying that, because I've heard that quote before, and I know I've seen it. My brain froze because the name is
No
not,
worries. No
but I
worries.
know
I
what
just
you're
want to
talking about. It's
give you the
that,
chance. It's from Shawshank Redemption.
there we go. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And
And
it's, yeah, what is it? Morgan Freeman's character Red
mhm.
is narrating how Andy Dufresne made his miraculous adventure, I'll say, for those that haven't seen the film yet. If you haven't seen the film, go watch the film. No spoilers, don't look it up, just go watch it.
Yes,
If
everyone,
you,
please
if
go
you,
watch it.
yeah, if you've avoided the Shawshank Redemption spoilers this far, you're so lucky. You go have the best experience of your life and go watch that film before it gets spoiled. I truly
And
believe it. Yeah.
if anybody tries to spoil it, cover your ears because
Cover your,
yes, worth watching. I
it's worth
like that.
watching. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
So, I know I have some deep questions to ask you. So, the next one is, let's go a little bit about you. Did you have a nickname in school?
Did I have a nickname in school? Well, it depends what age I was. When I was in high school, kids called me Marcus because I was in JROTC. When I was in college, some of my friends called me M1 because I was still wrestling under the moniker Maxwell M1 Abrams. Uh, or I'd be the guy with the beard. To those that didn't know me,
Wow.
so I had this big old beard in college. Which looks like it's coming back right now. Um, but when I was much younger and I was in the U.S. Army Cadet Corps, basic cadet training, they called me Spider-Man. Uh, that was because two things. If there was a spider, I was the one that you called to go get rid of it, because I was fascinated with them, terrified of them at the time, but also fascinated with them. And I was always just climbing things.
Hmm.
So I was great on the what is it, the obstacle course.
No wonder they call you Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, I guess so. Yeah, I'll take it. But I think those are the only real
Hmm.
nicknames I've had that stuck around for a while.
Wow, amazing. If you could pl if you could have played a lead role in the film that you played in the past, which one is your favorite?
You can't ask me my favorite film that I've been in because I have so much love for all those films. I have so much love for the directors and their work and the stories. But I will say, uh, if we're just talking films, not television.
Film, and then we'll go into television. So
Okay,
it's
let's say
both.
if we keep it with film, then I'll say Lattie Tipton because
Hmm.
uh, today's Memorial Day, and I thought about him today. I think about him every Memorial Day. He passed away in the service. He was a real person. Uh, that role was deeply emotional and was very much an example of the
Hmm.
reason that I do this craft, and an example of me getting to do what I want to do in the craft of acting at the exact level I want to do it. And when I say level, I'm not talking about budget or um, studio or any of that kind of thing. I'm talking about meaning, character, purpose, and exploration. Lattie Lattie was a real warrior, a real soldier, a real man who went through these things, and to dive into him, even for the time of the film, even for the months and years we took to prepare it, uh, it has never left me.
Hmm.
I feel a deep bond and connection to him and responsibility to remembering him, which is what Memorial Day is about. But and I'm grateful that through my performance of him, no matter what people's opinions of the character and his actions in the film may be, he is now in some ways immortalized through the hearts of those that get to experience that character
Hmm.
journey. And they can see that a real man went through these things, and that he wasn't just a number. He wasn't just, you know, a father who never made it home. He 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 was those and so many more of those things. Um, and he was a human soul. And yeah, so that one I would say is easily the most powerful film role
Hmm.
that that I hold dear to me.
That's amazing to hear.
Yeah, it transcends a character
And
that we create from our own minds. I believe.
that goes into, as us in entertainment industry, we're telling people stories and we're part of their lives. And that's I think, no, not I think, it is amazing to be a part of people's lives, to experience their lifestyle, their story, and the memory continues on, and that to me is very emotional but happy because we're continuing on for the story to let to make him or anybody story we're talking about to let them know that we're going to continue your journey, we're going to continue your story for
Yeah,
many centuries to come, and the families will be proud. And I that is what us as actors and actresses, film directors, producers, that's what we do. We make films. We tell stories. And that's when people leave a movie theater, especially I have, you're like, "Wow, that was so powerful," right? Or wow, that was so scary if you watch a horror movie, for example, or like, wow, that was so funny. But when you leave, you're as an audience, you're part of the story, even though you may have not played the role, even though you were not on the cast, even though you were not on set.
hmm,
The audience, you is we hope and you feel it that you're there, you experience that person's story, and that is impactful. As a you actor or a talk show host or whatever, we all are telling people stories, and you hope as yourself or any actors out there who'll be watching this that you hope that the audience are so glued, they're so emotional, telling hearing stories, and
absolutely.
that and I totally agree with you. We are. Memorial Day, we hear stories, we watch films. One of my favorite film for me was Saving Private Ryan. You know,
I knew you were going to say Saving Private Ryan. Yeah,
I know, I know. That's one of the.
I
That's
know.
one.
I felt it because that's a film that has impacted so many
Hmm.
people
And
in
I
such a
think
visceral way.
it's not. I think at the very end, it was very emotional for me. Very end. And that right there, as sitting in the audience or watching on TV, that's how we hope the impact the
I
audience.
agree.
So,
And interestingly enough, I was because again today is Memorial Day. I was just thinking about the ending to that film this morning, and you bring it up now saying you were thinking about it. I think that that's the amazing, you were talking about us experiencing films as audience members. We also merge with them, especially great films. They merge with us. They become a part of us. They become a part of the way we see the world. And so when we see the emotions of a day like today, part of us sees it through the lens of the story we were told that still lives in us.
You said it right there. You said it right there.
Yeah,
100%. We, you're telling stories. That is it. That's the mic drop. You just said it right there. I'm being honest. It's the storytelling.
yeah,
We are telling their story, and that is how we're going to continue telling their stories in
yeah,
generations and generations. You can Saving Private Ryan. There's other movies out there that's still coming on TV, never be going off TV, and it's still going on. You know,
exactly.
and
Yeah,
it's that is the impact of the audience watching and hearing stories,
absolutely.
and the family members don't appreciate of it. That we actors are doing that because to continue on the story. So I appreciate, thank you for telling your story, and that is the story that we all need to hear, how we get impacted by films, making films, being in films like that. It's
I
100%.
think that that's the reminder I try to give myself all the time. Again, this, like you said at the beginning of our conversation, the industry is very messy, and you have to revisit what is the purpose of us stepping away from our immediate reality to spend so much time and money in a reality that is in some other place in some other time so that we can put people in a room so they can sit in a place where they're putting themselves in some other place in some other time. What would be the point of that? Isn't there stuff to focus on here, now? Why would we even have a whole industry, let alone, a whole form of entertainment and education? That if if this was just fantasy, if this was just for the sake of escapism, which sometimes we see films that are made with maybe not the longest you know uh, efforts into drawing out the deepest stories, and that disheartens us into
Hmm.
going, oh, is this just for the sake of stepping out of our reality? And I guess the point I'm getting back to is no, especially when we're touching on history, when we're touching on people's lives, real people's experiences, and expanding people's awareness to things that were beyond their awareness, people's lives and experiences that were beyond their awareness that they can resonate with, that can expand their empathy, and that can allow them to operate in the world in a more heightened manner,
Hmm.
a manner where they're more connected to each other and to the parts of themselves that genuinely matter and will genuinely fuel them to make the here and now a better place.
100% true. 100%. I totally agree with you. And it just, like I said, you you said it all right there. You really did. We are telling stories. That's how that's the only thing that's coming to my mind right now. It's telling stories. We're telling history, we're telling stories. And that to me is impactful. And that's what we do. 100%.
Cheers.
So, I want to dig into another one. What is your biggest pivot in life so far?
Biggest pivot in life. That's another good question. I'd say the first biggest pivot in life was coming to Los Angeles. Was leaving Pennsylvania and moving to La La Land to explore this craft. That was 5 years ago
Hmm.
in the pandemic, the early height of the pandemic. I had just graduated college, did a few projects on the East Coast. Was lucky enough to land the lead in Sagacity, in which we shot out of New Jersey. And then after that, uh, I felt the call to come to Hollywood. It was time. So I made my way on out here, and I'd say that was probably the biggest pivot at the time.
Wow.
I had left everyone I knew, uh, my family, friends,
Hmm. Hmm.
animals.
Animals.
Yeah, that's in some ways one of the harder parts. You
Right, right.
can't tell your dogs why you're leaving. You can explain it to people. You can tell them,
Hmm.
you know, I'm hoping to make a better life for you, for me, to chase these dreams, to pursue my purpose, to, work, whatever it is. You can explain it to people. But with animals, one day you're there and the next day you're not. And that's very hard.
Yes. I mean,
So,
I totally understand.
yeah, that was genuinely probably the biggest pivot. And I've been out here 5 years. I'd say the second biggest pivot has been almost 2 years ago. I decided to move out of my apartment on the boulevard in Hollywood and start van lifing to continue to pursue Los Angeles as an epicenter for my craft. And so that was definitely another pivot that I never expected to even
Wow.
undergo in life. So, yeah,
It's
that's been an
amazing.
adventure in and of its own, for
Wow.
certain.
I've learned so much. Now my next kind of deep question is, what is your why?
What is my why? When it comes to acting, directing, filmmaking, just generally in this craft,
Yes, sir.
what is my why? To illuminate
Okay.
is the word that comes to mind. I could come up with a million whys. Um, I want to spread light where there is darkness
Hmm.
and illuminate the darkness in and of itself as well. So it can be seen and understood, but so that people can maybe uh, have a light to look to, have warmth. Um, like I said earlier, in filmmaking, there is the opportunity to bring people together from all walks of life for a shared experience. If I can provide the vehicle for people to unite, for people to connect, for people to love, that is a great why to have. To be of service is a more general answer because most oftentimes, whether it's acting or directing or producing or stunts or whatever it is, screenwriting, I'm just looking to be of service to a story and in hopes that that story can bring people together. And beyond bringing people together, I, you know, believe that the illumination that can come from this craft can bring people closer to their relationship with God, with their
Amen.
creator, yeah,
Hmm.
with their relationship to the one who created them.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't think there's many more pursuits that are I don't think there's any more pursuit that's more meaningful in life than to get as close as one possibly can to that which created it.
Amen.
I think so. That's my
Anything can
why.
be anything can be possible with God.
I believe that. I truly do. And if that's my why, is to bring people closer to their connection with each other and their connection with their creator. That's
Amen.
I think at the very best, that's what I could do.
Amen. You said it right there. You know, anything is possible with God. 100%. I totally
Truly.
agree with you. I want to dig into your acting. Do you have any upcoming project that you're allowed to talk about? And are you directing or producing any other films?
Yeah, we have a whole variety of projects on the slate at Shining Armor Studios. When it comes to acting, we have an exciting Dead Space fan film coming out soon, where I play the lead role of Isaac, and I think that's going to be very exciting for those that love the Dead Space video game. The film will be called Pathogen, and that'll be reaching its release soon. We're still planning out the final stages there, but that's a really cool exploration into that world and that character. So that's going to be very fun. And on the directing, producing side, there's a screenplay which I wrote titled Allone or All One, depending upon how you read it. Uh, and that script has won a variety of awards
Hmm.
internationally. We're currently getting it the right home, the right team, and the right players to make it happen and make it happen on a very large scale, so that everyone can see it and get to dive into this story, which I feel is one that we might all need right now. It's a story about purpose and acceptance of one's purpose.
Amazing. I can't wait to for everyone to see the film. It's so
Thank you.
exciting.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Yeah,
Yes, me
very
too.
exciting.
I'm genuinely very excited as well. So we have a few other things in the cooker too, and uh, I'm very excited to share those as well. We have a short film coming out soon with an amazing director, Andy Gott, and that short film goes into the horrors of AI. That's titled Metacarpus, and that'll be coming out soon. And then we have a feature in the works right now. We've already started shooting called Night of the Mojave.
Okay.
That's a post-apocalyptic, uh, again, purpose film. It's
Hmm.
actually
Hmm.
a story of faith, very similar to Book of Eli,
Hmm.
but set in an exciting post-apocalyptic world, tribulation era world. So
Wow. I can't wait to see it. And when does it come out? And
we
where
don't
can
have a
people?
release
Okay,
date
okay.
for Night of the Mojave or Allone yet. Pathogen should be coming out in the next few months, and I would assume the same with the other short I mentioned.
And where can people watch these films?
To be determined. To be
Okay.
determined.
If we
Yes, sir.
determine, so everybody needs to pay attention.
Yes. Keep an eye out. Follow me on Instagram at Maxwell Marcus. Follow Shining Armor Studios at Shining Armor Studios, and keep an eye out. There will be updates.
I was trying to get it out of you, but I guess I couldn't.
Sorry. Some things have to stay under wraps right now.
No, I totally understand. I don't want this, I don't want you to slip it out and, everybody be coming after you. So as yourself, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself uh, working on a variety of films under the team at Shining Armor Studios, as well as working the land. I just started a land conservation nonprofit with a few brothers of mine, and we're going to be going in and reconsolidating and protecting land, which I think will be very beneficial for everyone involved and for the earth. So I think getting my hands in the dirt is a broad way of saying getting closer to the earth and getting closer to making more films, telling more stories. In 5 years, who knows what the world's going to look like?
Right.
I have plenty of plans, but I know God has His own plans.
Very
So
true.
I take it one step at a time. But the expansion of Shining Armor Studios, the expansion of the brother son conservation, and the just a deeper, closer relationship with my
Mhm.
creator, and hopefully, maybe if God wills it, the start of a family at some point. But I'm in no rush there. I have a lot of work to do out here. So
Right. I totally understand. I
yes,
totally
absolutely,
understand.
absolutely. But that's a goal one day is to be a father. Father and husband is a long term goal. But there's so much work to be done within within God's purpose for me at this moment. So I'm taking it one step at a time.
Amen. Anything can happen with God. Very true. Um, my last question is, what do you want to tell the upcoming young actors, actresses, and artists, producers, and directors? What's your message to them that are looking at you, watching this interview, listening to podcast? What's your message for them about coming into this entertainment industry?
I have two messages to answer this question. The first one I have said before in interviews, which is always explore your why. Continuously explore your why. It's something you asked me in this podcast, and even in this podcast, I think my answer has shifted and changed. It should shift and change. It's okay, but you have to not be afraid to explore the why. And if you are, maybe the why isn't built on strong roots. Maybe those roots have been poisoned by our experiences, by our traumas, by the things we were deprived of, by our inclinations and towards specific weaknesses for ourselves. That's okay too. Dig up the roots, plant new ones. When we pursue this craft at any stage of the craft, the beginning, somewhere down the line, 20 years in, sit down and bring God into the equation. I don't mean to sound like a holy roller by any means. What I'm saying is the best work that we can possibly do in our craft and in our life comes from a co-creation.
Hmm.
There is everything that we try to do ourselves, even through the beautiful powers of the law of vibration and manifestation and transcendental meditation. All of these things are very powerful, but they pale in comparison to the power of that which created us and created our ability to even explore those things. So the second that we realize that we are not alone in our pursuit, that we don't have to be, but that it can be a co-creation and that we have a team waiting for us and that we can share the load, then and only then the magic really starts to happen.
Amen. Very true. Very true. You said it all right there because
Appreciate that.
you got to know your why, and trust God because He knows everything.
He knows the things we don't know. He knows our hearts even when we don't quite understand them.
Right. 100%.
So, so open yourselves up to having a co-creation with your creator in your craft, in your work.
Yes. Very true.
How can it be a team effort? And in that you're gonna find all sorts of aspects of yourself and the work that maybe we had shut ourselves off from prior.
Yes, I totally agree with you. 100%. Thank you for sharing that. Where can
Thank you.
people find you? YouTube, social media, Twitter, where can people find you?
At Maxwell Marcus on Instagram. At Shining Armor Studios is the production company on Instagram. Those are the main social media. Feel free to check out my website, maxwelldavidmarcus.com. And on IMDb, it's just imdb.me/Maxwell. So real simple there.
Yes, very
That's
simple.
that's that's it. Feel free to reach out. I usually respond to Instagram DMs. I try to make sure to take a look at them at least a few times a week. So yeah, let's get to work and let's make some magic.
Yes, and Maxwell, I appreciate you so much for coming on, and I look forward to speaking with you again soon and talk about
Likewise,
your
I'm looking
upcoming
forward
projects
to
you'll
it.
be doing in your future.
Thank you. Likewise, I really appreciate it. I hope to see you on the physical red carpet soon.
Yes,
Um,
hopefully
and
soon.
yes, and we'll have to have another interview as well. I appreciate this. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll definitely stay in touch, and I'll definitely have you back on again sometime soon.
Cheers, Ryochi.
Thank you again. You have a good one.
Thank you, brother. You too.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye now.